You can't just take your kid to daycare or have a babysitter watch them. Your whole family's needs and activities will revolve around their needs and care. If anyone else will be responsible for caring for them, they need to get trained on how to do this and the equipment needed at the hospital and nest, doing all the care with us helping so they are closer to being ready to do it at home. Marriages have a hard time surviving this. Resentment gets born out of the workload and the impact on the relationship. Going with traditional roles, usually the moms take on the brunt of all the care. The hands-on care. Arranging appointments, calling insurance companies, fighting for equipment and supplies, trying to find qualified caregivers or a home health company, fighting insurance again to get help to come by the house even a few hours a week so you get some respite. The other partner will be working constantly due to the need for finances and potentially your inability to work. They'll come home tired. No time for your relationship. You're both understandably worn out. Your other kid will be lucky to get some time with their parents and their relationship with both of you will not be the same. Your other kid will be fully impacted. They will become a second priority because your daughter will need so much care. They will be known as the sibling of a sick child. They will grow up visiting hospitals and clinics. They won't get both their parents' attention at the same time because your responsibilities are so split and your daughter will need constant care. He will remember his childhood under the shadow of his sister. My friend and his wife ultimately terminated their pregnancy as they felt it was the best thing they could do for her. Every single PICU nurse I have ever asked who had taken care of children that had their diagnosis said they would never carry the pregnancy to term. They'd seen the suffering of everyone involved. I watch families go home with their newly severely brain-damaged child. I don't blame them for seeing their outwardly healthy-looking child and not imagining this future for them. So they get them a trot and a G-tube. But then they go home with this child and there's not the support there. All the family that supported you in the hospital? They go back to their lives. You're left to figure out this new normal. You do cares throughout the night. Turning them every couple hours and checking on them. Diaper changes at all ages. Tube feeds and meds. A dressing monitor and ventilator alarms. No one else is with you in the middle of the night doing this. Their child gets bigger and continues to grow and their 2-year-old is now a long 14-year-old and the cares are even harder. Think of having a newborn for the rest of their life except they keep growing but the demands on you never ease. You might get used to it and develop a routine but things don't get easier. I see families do amazing care for their special needs children. It becomes their life and their mission. They adapt to the situation and do everything they can. We get to know them and their families well. When that child, who is always terminal, eventually dies, they become quite lost for a while. People flounder when they put themselves aside for so long and they're grieving at the same time. What is their purpose now? And they'll always have parent guilt but with even more intensity and wonder if they did enough. And even after that child dies, they're left with the wreckage of their relationships that got neglected and trying to find new dynamics. Most marriages also do not survive the death of a child. You lose a lot of friends because they don't know how to help or interact and you can't do normal times out or have play dates. Forget a spontaneous lunch date. Even if you could go, imagine hauling your child and all their medical equipment. And it still severely limits what you could do. You don't go out because there's exposures. You have to consider being ready at all times to address whatever complications might happen. And in public. So you just don't go out. You can't relate to your other mom friends' lives and regular baby stuff in their lives and they can't relate to you. You will be resentful of their child hitting development milestones. The only community that will understand is the small community of parents who have had medically fragile children.